5 tracks. That's all I'm giving Pink Floyd today. Not the whole record, not the reputation, not 50 years of people telling us how important it is, just side 1. Because if you want to know whether the first half of an album really works, there's one question that matters more than all the others. When it ends, do you have to hear side 2? Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dave's Side 1. I'm Dave, your host, over here at Art of Listening Records, where every record has a story, and every story starts on side 1. Today, that line is especially appropriate because we're starting a new week. And for the next 7 episodes, we're going to forget about albums for a minute. We're going to listen to sides. Side 1, side 2, the flip, the journey, and what can happen when 20-something minutes of music becomes its own complete listening experience. And we're starting with a pretty intimidating example. Now, here's the problem with talking about Dark Side of the Moon. We already know what we're supposed to think. Classic, masterpiece, important, iconic. For the next few minutes, this isn't one of the most famous albums in rock. It's simply a record with 5 tracks on side 1. And I want to know what those 5 tracks actually accomplish. The first thing side 1 has to do is get me through the door. And Pink Floyd does something interesting. They don't really start with a conventional song. Speak to Me gives us a heartbeat, voices, sound, fragments. It's less like somebody starting a performance and more like somebody opening a door. The album has established a world before the first conventional song has really begun. Then comes Breathe, and now we're inside. This is important. A great opening track doesn't necessarily have to explain the album, it just has to make me willing to follow it. Speak to Me opens the door. Breathe gets me to walk through it. But if the entire side simply stayed in that space, we might get comfortable. Instead, On the Run changes the environment. The movement changes, the tension changes, the experience changes. And this is where I think great album sides separate themselves from sides that merely contain good songs. A great side moves, something has to happen between here and here, from the beginning to the end of the side. Then we arrive at time. And notice the word I just used, arrive. That's different from saying next up is track 4, because by now we've already traveled through the opening atmosphere, through Breathe, through the tension of On the Run. And now time happens in that context. The song is powerful on its own, but here it has a job inside the side. It feels like we've reached something. Then comes the great gig in the sky. And this is where the first side does something I think every really great album side needs to do. It leaves me somewhere different from where I started. The beginning does not feel like the ending. We've gone somewhere, and the final track doesn't have to resolve everything. In fact, maybe it shouldn't, because there's still another side waiting. And now we reach what may be the most important moment on side 1. The great gig in the sky has ended. That's the test. Do I stop, or do I need to know what happens next? A great side 1 makes this almost automatic. So here's the side 1 test, the test we're going to use throughout this week. Does the beginning establish a reason to stay? Does the side actually move? Has something changed between the first groove and the last? That's the big one. When side 1 ends, do I need side 2? And I want to make one distinction before we finish. A perfect album side doesn't necessarily require 4 or 5 perfect songs. That's not what we're measuring. We're asking whether the side works. Does every piece contribute? Does the order matter? Does the journey work? Does the ending earn the flip? That's different from simply giving every song 5 stars. So here's my verdict. Is this my example of the perfect side one? Yes. Not because every second needs to be everybody's favorite, because the side knows exactly what it's doing. It invites me in. It moves. It leaves me somewhere different. And when it ends, I am definitely flipping this record. So on tonight's Side 1 Spin, I ask you, what is your perfect Side 1? One record, one side, no greatest hits albums, that's cheating. Come back and tell me the artist and tell me the album, and most importantly, tell me what makes that side work for you. Tomorrow, we're going to turn the whole idea around, because what happens when side 1 is great, but side 2 is better? Well, that's it for today's Side 1. Thanks for spending a little time with me, and please keep that needle in the groove, and I will see you on Side 2.